Hello and welcome to the tutorial for Wave Shuffle. My name is Apollo Mettler, aka Troublemaker, and I'm really glad that you're here. I'm giving you this move for free on one condition only. If you learn this move, you must send me a video. Either tag me or in a video that you post, or DM me. Just get a video to me somehow, and that's the only way that you'll have to pay me back for giving you this move. Now, Wave Shuffle is kind of a knacky move. Don't get too discouraged if you don't get it right away. It will take some practice to get it smooth and make it look nice. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. The main motion I will teach you first in the right hand. So begin learning it by breaking off a chunk, maybe about a third of the deck, into your right hand on the pip corners of a small packet to start. This is how you'll build the muscle memory for doing the motion. You spin the packet with your index finger until you're at this point with your index finger underneath. Your index finger helps start this bend in the packet so that the cards are bending away from your palm. Then your index finger goes to the outside edge to help support the packet. From here, what you're going to do is spring cards off of your middle finger and onto your ring finger. Now, how do you do this? Well, if you know how to do a card spring, a regular card spring, the same motion that you do with your thumb is the motion that you do with your middle finger in the Wave Shuffle. So, that being said, the idea of this move is not to push straight in. The idea is to push this middle finger up and over the backs of these cards, sort of along this edge and towards your thumb almost a little bit. So the motion is to go up and over a little bit. This shape is very important. You see, the cards are not springing straight down. They're springing over and onto your middle finger. And the bigger you can get this shape to be, the easier Wave Shuffle will be. So the way you do this is by separating your ring finger over here and your middle finger over here as far away from each other as possible. And that will make this shape, the wave, big. And that will make your farrowing a lot easier later on down the line. So again, push in with the middle finger along the edge and towards your thumb. And that will make Wave Shuffle so much easier. So once you've sprung off approximately, well, most of the packet, you'll be left with a couple of cards on top that are held between your middle finger and your thumb. This is when your index finger comes to the top of these cards and helps close them, so that they are now held between your thumb and your ring finger. Now, if you want to use this as a combo move, you can then spin it again, spring them off of your thumb even. That's something I'm working on, but you don't have to. If you really just want to learn Wave Shuffle, all you need to know is how to do this motion, not only in your right hand, but also in your left, and with half of the deck each. Now, we'll begin Wave Shuffle. Once you've learned how to do this move in both your right hand and your left, break off half of the deck into your right hand, gripping it by the non-pip corners this time. You're going to once again spin to this position, and really you're not really spinning the packet, it's mostly just a little tiny adjustment like this, while you bring it up like this. In your left hand, you grab the other half of the deck by the pip corners, so opposite grips. And from here, you're going to want to spin this about 180 degrees, and you're going to want to reposition it with your right hand to make sure that you've got that perfect grip with your middle finger. So I like to grab this packet with my pinky and thumb and really just place it right where I think it needs to be. From here, you open both packets like so, and you begin to do the move with both of these packets. Your index fingers go, of course, to the outside again once they've bent these packets the right way. I like to begin with my pinky's fingers touching, just for reference. And from here, you begin slowly, slowly springing off cards one by one until you're at about this point. And from here, you really just use these cards, these fingers, to push the last cards in. From here, you grab with your thumb this inside corner here. You reach your pinky to the outside of this packet and your index here into this sort of Spider-Man grip and cascade the cards. Now, when you do the wave shuffle, you don't really spring the cards off of your middle fingers and onto your ring fingers. Your ring fingers are just there to give support to the back edges of these cards. You just sort of catch this edge of the cards with all of these fingers. It just sort of falls into place. You will find that it is difficult to get the last maybe third of each packet to farrow perfectly. So if you need to, you just sort of place cards as they need to go. For the cascade at the end, once you're in this position where you've got a Spider-Man grip, I find that with some decks it's easier to just drop your thumb away from the packets, not even hold it. But with some decks it's easier to use your thumb to kind of slowly pull pressure off of the front and release the cards one by one, otherwise they kind of clump together. Another tip is, although I start the wave shuffle with my pinkies together, I slowly pull them a little bit apart as I do the move to make space for the cards to farrow together. I just put my pinkies together to start so that I can make sure that I start in the same position every time, and the cards sort of, it sort of strengthens your whole position to be able to lock your hands together. Then once you start the move, you can slowly pull your hands a little bit farther apart. When you're doing this, you really want to start the move in one hand before you do the other. You don't want them to go at the same time, because what will happen is these cards will bind against each other instead of farrowing. So I like to break off the first chunk, and I find that it's really hard to make this first chunk come apart in, you know, one card by one. So I start it, and then I sort of just feed the other packet into this kind of position so that they begin the farrow. And from there I do the move. I find that it's pretty hard to just, from this position, have them farrow perfectly. So again, I break off a little chunk and then just put things into place, and then from there you should find that it's a lot easier to make the two packets farrow. One thing about this move is that you also don't want these packets to be perfectly level, right? You want them to be pushed outwards like this a little bit, okay? And the reason for that is, as these packets are farrowing, you'll see that they're coming in from the top corners, getting fed into this bottom position here. And if you have the packets facing each other perfectly, like parallel to each other, it will be impossible to get them to join up together. It's just, you cannot make it work like that. So, again, the trick is, instead of having them parallel to each other, have your hands parallel to each other, okay? Instead of the packets, the hands parallel to each other. Begin this farrow, and then you'll find that the cards will naturally be bending in towards each other in the way that makes them farrow. So that's just about it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, if you get the move, send me a video. You have no choice. That is your payment. Never stop making trouble, never stop making mistakes, and I'm sure that you're going to have a great time doing cardistry. So go support our French cardists over at Touch Cardistry, and sayonara.